All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today on Internet Lead Conversion with Jeff Jabbora, our National Growth and Development Director for Allison James Estates and Homes. Allison James Estates and Homes is a nationwide brokerage which offers 100% commission and 100% support. Why split your commission if you don't need to? You've earned it all, so shouldn't you keep it all? Our goal at Allison James is to always give back to our agents by providing education, training sessions, live webinars, events, and full broker support with the most up-to-date tools and technology available. We are always looking for new tools and ways to be able to provide them to our agents at a lower or discounted price so you can keep your hard-earned money for the more important things in life and the people you love. With plans starting at just $35 per month, we have plans that cater to agents of all levels of production. As Allison James continues to grow, we will be providing more of these free tools to help you grow your business. Allison James Estates and Homes is ranked among RealTrend's top 30 independent brokerages in America. We currently have over 1,100 agents and are growing every day. Thank you to all the outside agents who have joined us today. We feel that trainings should be free, and we welcome you to join any of our upcoming webinars or live events. If you would like to know more information about Allison James Estates and Homes, please contact myself or Jeff Jabbora directly in our National Growth and Development Department at 941-677-2544 or by email at joinus@ajicorporate.com. Also, today we have some exciting news to share with you. Allison James Estates and Homes is pleased to announce that we offer a live coaching program nationwide. We are opening our doors to class registration now. If you'd like to know more information about our coaching program, you can also contact us directly at 941-677-2544 or email us at joinus@ajicorporate.com. With that being said, I'd like to now pass it over to Jeff. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Alicia, and good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jeff Jabbora, and today our presentation is going to be on internet leads and internet leads conversion, a very, very tricky subject in today's industry. So let's start with some facts about leads. People that are looking in internet leads and that sort of thing. Well, obviously 100% of internet leads originate online, but buyers in general, 90% of people that buy houses started their search online. 95% of buyers that started their search online that convert to a closing happen somewhere between the 3rd and 12th attempt of the agent to reach out to them. Only about 7% of incoming internet leads close within 12 months, and about 4% close within 24 months. So as you can see, very, very unrealistic to get somebody that calls you right away, wants to go see a house and makes an offer that day. It does happen sometimes, but there's an incubation period. There's a turnover period. There's ways to get things done, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to dive a little bit further into that. Response times. I would say this is one of, if not the most important aspect of this presentation, is how quickly you can respond. Realistically, you want to get to these leads within 10 minutes, 5 minutes if you can. So according to Realtor.com, via MIT research, your chances of turning your leads into your clients drop drastically in these crucial minutes. You are 21 times less likely to achieve success if you call back in 30 minutes versus 5 minutes. And it gets worse after that. So that's why it's imperative to have your incoming leads set up to a text message alert, an email alert, whatever is going to prompt you the quickest to pick up that phone and call them. Even if you're driving down the highway, turn your Bluetooth on and get ready to at least make contact with that lead. That first impression and that short time frame is imperative. Couple of things to consider when you are reaching out within that golden 5 minutes or golden 10 minutes, whatever it may be. Treat every lead as though it were a $1 million cash buyer. A lot of these online platforms out there, you can see the property that they're inquiring on. It's not just a general inquiry. They're inquiring about a specific property. You never know if that person that's looking at a $79,000 mobile home ends up buying a $790,000 detached home. So don't get into the mindset of, oh, this person's looking at a lower price point property or something like that. I don't have time. I'll call them later. Still call them right away. You never know what's on the other end of it. Secondly, the only bad lead is the one that you don't follow up with. If you just make one phone call or send one text message or one email and let it go to the wind, that's the worst thing that you can do. One is the worst number. You definitely have to follow up, and we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth as well. And to remember, about 50% of internet leads are given up on after 3 attempts, and that's from other agents. So you try to reach them a few times, and then you can't get a hold of them, and you just let it go to the wayside. That's not good either. You have to have a systematic way of doing it, and I'm going to share with you what my follow-up action plan is. So obviously, we can't make people answer the phone. We can't make people reply to a text message or anything like that. I have a really cut and dry follow-up action plan. 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 10, 14. Day 1, phone call, email, text message. Day 2, repeat, phone call, email, text message. Day 3, repeat, phone call, email, text message. That is technically 9 attempts within 3 days to get a hold of somebody. I always like to leave a voicemail first, follow up with a text message, and then follow up with an email, all within about a 15-minute period. In today's world, text messaging is absolutely acceptable, especially in business. There's a great way to communicate with people right there. Some people prefer to text message. I get calls all day long from people trying to sell me things or people I don't necessarily want to talk to. And I think, wouldn't it just text me? I'm too busy to pick up the phone right now. I have other things going on. Send me a text. That's the way the world is going, or where the world is at right now, rather. So that's a perfect way to communicate and keep in touch with your clients. After that, I give them a day to cool off, and then I'll reach out on the 5th day, and it might be just a text message or just an email or just a phone call. Same thing on the 7th day. I don't blast them with all 3, phone call, email, or text message. Same thing for day 10, phone call, email, or text message. And then on day 14, so this is 2 weeks, 14 calendar days from the time that they first reached out, I will blast them with all 3 again, a phone call, email, and text message. And after that, you've done your diligence, you've tried to follow up, you've sent different scripts, all that sort of thing. Put them on a cold list and follow up with them 1 time per month. Remember, the only bad lead is the one you don't follow up with. If you have a cold list bucket of you call cold leads once a month, you have a dialing party, perfect. If you put them in a drip email system and send them an email once a month, perfect. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to happen. Stay in front of them one way or another, at least 1 time per month. Don't let that lead go cold. Now, let's assume that you have somebody that does answer the phone right away, or after the 7th attempt or the 170th attempt. It doesn't matter. You have a real live person on the other end of that line or the other end of that text message. I like to do a little bit of pre-screening after I introduce myself. Well, nice to meet you, John. My name is Jeff. I'm a broker's associate with Allison James Estates and Homes, so on and so forth. How can I help you today? Oh, I'd really like to see 123 Main Street, that sort of thing. Okay, perfect. Let's do a little bit of diligence on our end first as an agent and do a little bit of screening. Not only do you want to do this for yourself to save your time, but I truly believe that you have a little bit of diligence or duty to people whose home you're showing. You don't want to be out using somebody's home as a touring landmark for somebody that doesn't even remotely have the means to purchase that. Some agents are really, really particular about wanting to see pre-approvals before you get in there and that sort of thing. And we'll talk about that. But just very casually, what do you do for a living, John? There's nothing wrong with asking somebody that, especially if you do it in the right way. And if John lets you know that he is gainfully employed, then that's probably a good sign that John has been thinking about buying a home and wants to do his diligence. If John says something that would lead you to believe he might not be able to qualify, then that might raise some flags, or you never know. But either way, this will steer you in the right direction of pushing them to an approval, or if they're already approved. So the next question, I just blatantly ask them, have you already looked into mortgage funding? Yes or no, and we'll see what they say. And then how soon are you looking to move? This is really the big ticket item here. I think number 3 is the most important question of the group. If somebody tells me that they're 12 or 18 months out and they want to just kind of go look at a few properties, if I really don't have anything else going on that day, which probably will never be the case, I might go show them a property too and have a cup of coffee with them and make that connection. Why not? But if I'm busy or I'm swamped or whatever the case may be, I would tell them it's probably a little bit premature to go out looking at properties now. If somebody is within a 90-day pipeline, I'll absolutely meet with them, go show some property and make that in-person connection. I think that there's networking and connections that can be made in person that you just can't do over the computer or over the phone or anything like that. Okay. Now, another very important question to ask. I always ask them, you already own a home in the area, and whether or not they need to sell it or will want to sell it so that they can purchase a new home. Number 1, a potential opportunity for a listing. Number 2, this is going to let you know if you're going to be writing contingent or whatever the case may be. This opens up a myriad of what's next for this particular situation. And if they're out of area, let's say that you're in San Diego and you have clients, or these people live in Phoenix and they need to list their house in Phoenix before they can buy a house in San Diego. Perfect. Hopefully you have a network of agents across the country and other major cities that you can put them in touch with to make sure that you can communicate and really have a smooth closing on this end. As you know, it's imperative to line that up with the contingent on the sale of a home in another state, especially. Okay. If the answer to this is yes, always ask if you can stop by to discuss their home if they're local. Of course, if not, let them know you have a professional that you can refer them to in another area. So I do a little bit of pre-screening before showings. Are they pre-approved? Are they not approved? Are they tire kickers? Are they ready, willing, and able? Are you going to show them one property if they're not pre-approved? And that's kind of what I'll set the precedence as. If somebody does not yet have a pre-approval, but they say they want to purchase within 90 days, I will absolutely say, okay, perfect. Let's go take a look at a property together. I'm happy to show you a home and see if we hit it off together. And from there, I'm going to need you to get a pre-approval before we move forward with more homes. Now, some people would say they'll go out and show all day long, or at this point in time, they're going to lock them into a buyer broker's agreement or whatever your state equivalent is. I don't want to dive into that too far. I'm not a big fan of it. I just let them know that I need you to be ready, willing, and able to purchase a home before we go out and tour other things. Be prepared. And some of this stuff should go without saying, but I do want to highlight on it a little bit. Dress for success. Get there early if you can. Have your MLS printout sheets, water if it's hot, or whatever the current climate dictates for, a hot cup of coffee. Have business cards with you. Make sure your Century card or Super Key or whatever your MLS equivalent is charged. Make sure that your phone is charged. And I always bring an iPad with me to showings because you never know when they're going to say, is there anything else in this neighborhood? Hopefully you've already done that diligence and looked it up. What is recently sold around here, or what's the HOA here, whatever the case may be. If you don't have that stuff memorized or it doesn't reflect on your MLS sheet, you're going to want some method of being able to look that up on the spot and get that in front of that information to them right away. Be prepared. Map your showings. There's all different kinds of tools out there. I like to think of, if I'm showing somebody 4 or 5 houses today, I like to think of it as FedEx. They are so proficient in delivering their packages. It's systematic. It's clockwork. There's so many different apps out there that you can use to map your showings. and you have to coordinate on, okay, it's Saturday morning, we're going to go out touring houses. I'm willing to bet at least one of these as an open house. So you have your open houses, say it's a 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock open house. You have a floating window. Anytime you can get there between 11 and 2 is perfect. Now you have a vacant house. Okay, perfect. That's just a go and show. We can do whatever we need. You have an owner-occupied home. You are going to set all of your showings around the owner-occupied homes, which you need to make an appointment for, and then map your showings accordingly. You definitely want to know your buyers and get a taste for the type of homes that they're looking for. If they want to see a townhouse that's $250,000 and then a detached home that's $700,000 and they're all over the place, that's probably a sign of where you're, they're back and forth. If they want to see 3 or 4 different detached homes that are all relatively the same size, location, and price point, perfect. You have people that kind of know what they want and they're dialed in on something here. Other things to think about: know the area, be the local expert, know the schools, the community highlights. Maybe every Friday afternoon they have a picnic or a concert in the park, or they have a big parade every July, or you can see the fireworks from this neighborhood on 4th of July, whatever the case may be. Those are good things to know and talk about when you are showing these homes. It's a good conversation starter, a good icebreaker, and it really, really establishes that local area expert. Local landmarks and attractions. Commute times. This is really, really important, especially if you're dealing in the suburbs. For example, where I'm at, Carlsbad is a bit of a suburb. A lot of people that live here work other places. One of the big questions is, oh man, I love the house, but I'm worried about traffic in the morning. How long is it going to take me to get to Kearney Mesa? Or how long is it going to take me to get to downtown San Diego? So those are good things to know ahead of time for different areas. And a lot of that just comes with living in the area that you work in and local expertise. And the other big thing, Melrose and HOAs, kind of have a bearing on what areas do have Melrose and what doesn't, and what the HOAs are and what they cover. That's another big question I get all the time. Well, I'm paying $350 a month for the HOA here. What does that cover? Probably not a whole lot, but you should know. Is it water, sewer, trash, and that sort of thing? Now, how to handle specific questions, how to regroup and prepare if you're not ready to take the inquiry. So let's say that you're driving down the highway and somebody calls you and says, hi, my name is John and I want to go see 123 Main Street right now. Perfect. You might not know if 123 Main Street is owner occupied. You might not know if it's vacant and go show. You might not know what the HOA is or that kind of stuff. Not to worry. Most people are going to appreciate your candor and saying, you know what, you caught me just as I'm driving or just as I'm walking back into my office from lunch or whatever the case may be. Build rapport with them on the phone. Ask them a few questions about what they have going on. Are they local? That sort of thing. Break the ice, establish a little bit of a relationship, and let them know that you'll call them back in 15 minutes, in 30 minutes, whatever the case may be. Don't try to speculate. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. Deliver as much information as you can until you can obtain that information, and try to set a specific time that you will call them back. You will have a 90% better success rate if you say, perfect, how about I call you at 1:30 this afternoon, we'll get on a call and go over everything, and I'll find some other similar properties in the area too. That sort of thing, versus just a, can I call you back in a little bit? That doesn't work. Try to give a specific time, okay? Another thing, be prepared. How much do you think this house is worth? When can we go see the property? Same thing. Just because they saw it on Zillow that the house is approximately $799,000 or that the house is active on the market and come to find out it's not, and that sort of thing. Be ready for those kinds of rebuttals. And we're going to dive into that a little bit as well. But the point I really want to stress is that nobody expects you to know everything right off the bat. Other things that are imperative to know: recent sales in the area, know other properties that are active on the market in the area that you are actually showing the property, okay? Now, let's say that they want to move forward with it. They're a little bit more serious about it. Maybe they're not qualified yet. Maybe they are. Or maybe when they see the home, there's a couple of little dings in it or things that they definitely want to get a second look at. No problem. Have a business book of vendors on hand in your head that is ready to go. Do you know of a good mortgage company? Do you know a good home inspector, a good pool repairman, whatever the case may be? Yes, of course I do, and I'm glad to refer you to a few different people, and you can pick which one you think is best for you. So it's important to show these prospective clients that you are an industry professional, you know other people, you know how to get things done, and that you are here to be their strongest advocate in the transaction. Keep the communication relevant. Some really, really key points here. Don't overpromise and underdeliver, and don't give too much information via email, text, or phone. For example, if this property that they want to see is an auction property, that is probably something you would want to tell them. If it's something that is not relative to know right off the bat about the home, that sort of thing, I'm not saying hide information, but you don't need to give them the full spectrum. That makes them decide whether or not they want to see the home before they see it, if that makes sense. So you definitely want to jump at the opportunity to meet them in person, build some rapport, and see if you're able to hit it off between agent and client relationship here. And I think the most important thing here is don't speculate. Don't say, well, you know, I'm pretty sure we could get this offer accepted at $480,000, even though it's listed at $530,000. This has been on the market too long and that sort of thing. That builds up a false hope. I don't recommend doing that sort of thing. You can let people know, well, here's some leverage that we do have or that we don't have, that sort of thing. So just lay it out for them so that they can better understand the overall situation. Things definitely to do: keep it simple, be the expert, and have legitimate information sources. People will want to argue with you up and down. Well, this property is on the market. I'm looking at it right now on Zillow.com. Well, Zillow.com is not the MLS. If you are not seeing that active on the MLS, then you can assume that that's not active, or maybe it just sold a week ago, that sort of thing. Make sure that your information is from legitimate sources. If the internet is showing that the HOA there is only $300 a month, but you just sold a house there last week and you know it's $350, that sort of thing. Definitely make sure that you have good sources of information and are able to provide this in a timely manner. Staying organized. As a real estate professional, it is not uncommon to talk to many different people during the week, during the month, over the course of a year, whatever the case may be. Don't let your clients fall through the cracks here. Don't go waste your time and their time by one afternoon of showings and then you don't follow up with them, or you don't remember what they were looking for, or you don't remember to log that they have to have a one-story home, something like that. So stay organized, log your notes on the houses, okay? I always like to use the back of the MLS sheet. So when I'm walking through a house, I have a clipboard with me or the back of my iPad. I'm never empty-handed. I have a pen in my hand. I look like I'm writing down whatever information may be pertinent. Maybe we walk through and say, oh, I like this, but come to think of it, I really have to have at least one bedroom on the main floor. That sort of stuff is really, really imperative to write down so that you remember when you get back to your office. And I always like to send an email and copy myself so that it logs into my CRM to the client. It was a pleasure meeting with you this afternoon. As a recap, here's what you thought about house 1, house 2, and house 3. And here's how we're going to dial in our search accordingly. I'm only going to send you one-story homes or homes that have an HOA of less than X amount per month or has a bedroom on the main floor, that sort of thing. Now we're going to get into some actual email dialogue and icebreakers here. And these are great if you have not yet communicated with them and you're trying to break the ice for the initial contact or follow-ups and all that sort of thing. Now, there's no perfect way to do this. The best communication is the communication that opens the door for further communication, okay? And don't worry, guys, we're going to have a recap email sent out to everybody that registered with their email address with these scripts, and you can tweak them accordingly to your specific taste and needs. So here's a good email to follow up. Hi, John, the property you inquired on or about, whatever it is terrific or really great or outstanding, whatever kind of terminology you use. Please call me at your phone number, or can you tell me the best time to reach you and I'll call you back? What's a good phone number for you? Would you like to see the property? Don't say, hi, John, sorry, this property already has 57 offers on it. Or, hi, John, this is an auction property. Unless you're all cash, you're going to get beat out, that sort of thing. Just because they're not probably going to get the property that they're inquired about doesn't mean there's not other similar properties that you can open the door for right now. So this is a good one. Once again, keeping the communication relevant and not over-delivering information, okay? Phone scripts. I actually obtained this from a very, very productive team within our brokerage here, Team Force. This is awesome. I've been using this myself for the last couple of years, and I love this script. The acronym is easy to remember. The old LP Mama. Location, where are they looking? Price, what is their price range? Motivation, why and when are they buying a home? I think motivation is one of the biggest factors here. I just got a new job in San Diego, and I need to buy a house here in the next month or two. I'm relocating there, that sort of thing. Agent, this is very important as well. Are they working with another agent? As you all know, this opens up a whole other can of worms. We'll talk about that a little bit. Mortgage, are they buying with financing? Do they need to get a loan? Do they already have a loan? All those sorts of things are really going to let you know where you're at with these prospective clients. And then important aspect of this, appointment. Set the appointment. If there's somebody that is a ready, willing, and able buyer or reasonably ready, definitely take any opportunity that you can to get in front of them. Meet for a cup of coffee, meet at the home for a showing, whatever opportunity you have, jump at it. So we'll go over some practical use here. Location. Well, the properties that you look at are located in San Marcos, California, or they're all in North County. Is that the area that you're looking to buy in? They might say, you know what, I really don't know this area very well. I can tell you that here's where I work and I'd like to be relatively close to that. Or here's where I work and I don't want to be anywhere close to it. When I get home, I want to feel like I'm, out of the work environment. I'm okay with a commute, whatever it may be. The point of this is not to get yes or no answers. It's open-ended questions. Most people are happy to tell you about their cat and their dog and how they need a yard and how they need something with an air conditioner and that sort of thing. Open this up so that you open up the dialogue for open-ended answers. And this is really more of a conversation that you're logging notes on, not a survey. Okay, here's 50 questions for you. That doesn't quite the effect you're looking for. Once again, open-ended questions is what you're aiming to achieve here. Price. The price range you looked at is about X amount of dollars, $500,000. Is that the price range you're looking to buy in? It doesn't matter if they say yes or no, build rapport, set the appointment. They might say, I don't really know the area very well, or I'm very familiar with the area and I think that I'd like to keep it under $600,000 for a detached home. I'm interested in taking a look at anything that has a good sized lot and 3+ bedrooms and I have to have a pool or whatever it may be. Now, this will let you know, do they have realistic expectations? If you're pretty dialed in to the area that you're searching in, you're going to know if that price point is realistic for the search options that they have. If it's not, this is a good opportunity for you to discuss other areas. Well, I think we might have a little bit of a hard time finding that exact setup. So what would be more important to you, location or price or size, location or size, whatever it is? Everybody's got a different important aspect of this to them. Motivation. What is their motivation for wanting to buy? Out of curiosity, are you currently renting or do you own your own home? Do you need to sell before you buy? Is your house currently on the market? If you're renting, are you month to month? Are you in a lease? If you were to find the home of your dreams right now, would you be able to get out of that lease immediately? And once again, you're not reading off this like a script. You're casually mentioning it in conversation. You're trying to obtain what their motivation is. Are they ready, willing, and able? Once again, those are the 3 big factors here, okay? Now, another big piece, agent. How have you been looking at houses? Have you been looking strictly online? Have you been going to open houses by yourself? Have you had an agent show you different houses? Have you talked to 57 different agents and whoever's available at that time? Do you have an exclusive agency agreement or buyer broker agreement or whatever the state equivalent is with an agent? If they do, obviously you let them know, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to work with you. Please coordinate with your agent directly and step away from it. Now, if you get somebody that says, oh, I just call through Zillow and whoever's available, I just work with them directly or whatever case may be, this might be a conversation that you want to lock them into working with you and say, hey, I understand what you're looking to do here, but I think you're going to have better luck working with one agent that is dedicated to you and is going to help you find what you need versus just randomly dialing agents and whoever answers on the other end of the line. So this is a very, very important part of the conversation to see what kind of loyalty, and I use that term loosely, that these potential clients may have, or where they're at with things. You might be the very first agent they spoke with and they don't know anybody else, and that sort of thing. Mortgage. Out of curiosity, are you going to be paying cash or do you need a loan? Most people need a loan to buy a house. That's just the way of the world. Great. Would you be open to a lender competing for your business? Hopefully you have a good preferred lender that you know is able to give stellar service, stellar rates, and that sort of thing. I'm going to have one of my preferred lenders give you a call. I'd like to put you in touch with them. Don't tell them, or excuse me, don't ask them. Tell them, here's what I'd like to do. I think it's going to be in your best interest, etc. I don't push this too hard, but I think it is important that they do work with a good lender. As we all know, sometimes working with bigger banks out there, or somebody that you've never heard of before, or somebody that's located 40 states away from you, it can be difficult to get things done. And I always like to explain the benefits of working with a local on-the-ground lender that they can meet with if they need to, stop in the office, that sort of thing. So that's, like I said, I don't give really heavy pitch on this, but I do mention that it would be in their best interest to explore a couple of different mortgage options and see who's going to compete for their business. Now, closing for the appointment. Now, let me ask you this. Do you need 3 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, 3 bathrooms? What about garage, lot size, pool, all that sort of thing? Things that you think about. Whatever it is, just try to set that appointment with them. What's more important to you, size or location? Do you have school-age children? Is the school important to you? Perfect. I'd love to sit down with you. When's a good time for us to connect? When's a good time for us to meet? Are you available to meet on Saturday morning at the house? Whatever it is, try to set that appointment as long as they're in that 90-day buyer pipeline, okay? Now, my favorite part, some rebuttals for Zillow said, or the internet said, or whatever the case may be. Zillow said the property is still on the market, and I'm not trying to beat up Zillow here. I'm just using this because it's the most common source that people use to look for homes, from my opinion. The internet said, we could easily interchange that here. Or the value is $450,000 based off what the internet told me. Why is it listed at $500,000? And my most favorite, the one that I get the most, this is the biggest pushback I get with internet leads, is, are you the listing agent? I only want to deal with the listing agent directly, okay? So we'll start from the top. This property is still on the market. My answer to that is the truth. Unfortunately, when you are looking on the internet, there's a lag in the IDX feed, or the syndication, or the data collection, however you want to coin it. So what I can see comes directly from the local multiple listing service. And unfortunately, this house sold last month or last week or several months ago. I don't know why the internet is still showing it as active, but not to worry, there are other similar properties on the market. How about I send you a list of them and you can take a look at them and see if you'd like to set an appointment to go view them. Most people understand that what you see on the internet is not always correct. Some people don't, and they're going to want to argue with you all day about it. Next one. Well, the Z estimate, or the online estimate, says this home is only worth about $450,000. Why is it listed at $500,000? My response to this is, well, unfortunately, those online estimates are just based off of price per square footage sold within a relatively close distance to that area. What it doesn't factor in is upgrades, amenities, that sort of thing, lot size most of the time. So I let them know that, yeah, absolutely, a house, a couple blocks over of similar size sold a couple of weeks ago for that price point, but it wasn't upgraded. This home is upgraded. It has crown molding, it has this, it has that sort of thing. Make sure that what you're defending is accurate. If the home you believe to be a little bit overpriced, let them know that. Yeah, we'll have to take a look at it in person, that sort of thing. Everything is negotiable. I always like to leave it at that. Just because it's listed at X amount doesn't mean it's going to sell for X amount. And I'm happy to dive further into it with you and do the research and come up with what I think a good, strong offer would be based on the condition and the market value of the home. Now, my favorite. Are you the listing agent? I only want to deal with the listing agent directly. Unfortunately, most of the time when you get somebody that has this mindset, they're looking for a concession, they're looking for a rebate, They think that they're going to have better luck going right to the listing agent because they're going to be able to get a better price, or the listing agent can give the other half of the commission to them as closing cost credit, or they think that they're going to have better luck getting the deal done working with just them. Whatever the case may be, normally they're looking for something specific on their end. My rebuttal to that is absolutely. I am not the listing agent. However, I am a local area expert. I do specialize in this area, and I'd love to earn business being a strong buyer's advocate. When you work directly with the listing agent, they're also working with the people that are selling the home. Don't you think it would be in your best interest to have somebody fighting exclusively for you, or some kind of variant of that? Let them know a little bit about what agency is and how you can go to bat for them and them alone, and that you're in their corner and nobody else's. Sometimes that'll open up to, well, are you going to give me a credit or a concession or a rebate or whatever it may be? And that's kind of where I end the conversation. Unfortunately not. There probably is plenty of agents out there that would do that, but I'm going to give you such a stellar job for you that you're going to feel bad you even asked me that. You're not going to want to do that. With whatever they do for a living, I'm sure people don't come in and ask them for concessions and rebates and that sort of thing. And it depends on how aggressive they are with me. But I really kind of leave it at that I'm not a discount agent. There's no credits or rebates or anything like that to be had from me. Now, remember, when you're doing this, not everybody is going to be Mr. or Mrs. Pleasant and wonderful. Okay, there's going to be people that are going to be aggressive and can be a little snappy with you, or very short with you, and they just want to get whatever information they can. Or, hey, you're not the listing agent. Can you give me the listing agent's phone number? That sort of stuff. I've heard it all. So remember, smile on the phone. If they get aggressive with you, you don't have to get aggressive with them. Don't raise your voice. Don't give too much information, that sort of thing. Explain the facts without talking down to people. You can easily become frustrated trying to explain that everything that syndicates on one of these online websites is not fact. So don't talk down to them. Explain what it is and leave it at that. Not everyone's going to grasp the concept, but at the end of it, if it's somebody that sounds like you'd want to work with them, despite the trouble you're having, still try to set an appointment with them. It's a lot easier to get things done in person versus on the phone. So it's very important that you explain everything without making them feel like they're dumb, or that you're talking down to them, or that you're rude or disinterested in their business. And very, very importantly, don't discredit or badmouth other agents, vendors, sources. Oh, Zillow sucks. Their information's always horrible. Or, that's not accurate. That agent must be a bonehead and they didn't put the right information in. Any of that kind of stuff. Just definitely don't do it. Be professional. Be courteous. Do not badmouth other people. It's just not good business. Now, some takeaways. Be organized. Be prepared. Be professional. There's no bad leads, and know your area. I think that no bad leads is the most important one of these 5 takeaways. A couple of years ago, somebody told me something that resonated with me, and I always like to share this with people. Leads are like teeth. You only have to take care of the ones that you want to keep. Okay, so if you let that lead fall through the cracks, you don't follow up with them, you call them twice or 3 times and let it go. Just because they didn't answer right away doesn't mean they're not interested. They may have registered on another website a couple of months ago and just got blasted by other agents. You might be the agent that comes in and sends them the right email, the right text message, or catches them at the right time that they are ready to buy. So there's no bad leads. The only bad lead is the one you don't follow up with. Now, any questions about anything at all? As I said, there's no perfect science to this. The methods that I just laid out are what has worked for me pretty well. I would say the bulk of my business comes from online sources. And of course, the point of that is to try to build repeat and referral customers in the future. Just because they're not a client now doesn't mean they're not going to be next month, next year, whatever the case may be. And this is an opportunity for you to gain a new pipeline for repeat and referral customers. So always, always try to set the appointment, meet them in person. Even if they're not ready to buy right away, you make a good impression with them, they might refer you to somebody that is. So we'll open up for questions now. We'll take just a minute. I see that we have a couple of them flowing in here. And we'll give people an opportunity. We'll answer some questions. And as I said, guys, We're going to send out a recap email with some of these scripts and an overall takeaway from the training today. Alicia, are you seeing any questions come in on your end?
Yep, I have from Tim. He wanted to know, can you talk more on step 2? Why not via electronic? Is it a matter of no personal contact / delivery?
Oh, sorry about that. Can you dive a little further into that, Tim? Which one specifically were you talking about?
Tim, when you answer that, I'll move to the next question. What are you using to organize your lead follow-up, Jeff?
Yeah, I use a CRM. There's a million and one different contact management systems out there. For a long time, I used Top Producer. I think Top Producer is a great system. It's just a little bit too robust for me. I recently switched to a company called Lion Desk, and they're awesome. I'm able to log all of my calls, emails, text messages, and that sort of thing. There is a couple hundred contact management systems out there. The best contact management system is the one that you use.
Okay, great. I have another question. It's Jeff, do you buy your leads from Zillow / Realtor.com or any others?
I certainly do. I am plugged into both Zillow.com and Realtor.com. I don't want to dive too much on personal opinions on either. I think that they're both great. Some benefits of Zillow is that when that lead comes in, that lead will go to you directly. With Realtor.com, unless you are paying the upgrade to have that lead come only to you, it also goes to another agent or perhaps 2 other agents. So it's, once again, time is of the essence. It is imperative that you're the first person to jump on that when it comes in. Overall, the quality of these are hit and miss, just like anything else. And sometimes you get people that are roaring and ready to go right off the bat. Other times there's some incubation. But yes, I do use both Realtor.com and Zillow.com, and they both have been profitable. So I'm still continuing to use them.
We had someone say one aspect of your presentation is very powerful, is to control the interaction with the prospect. Don't let them drive the conversation. We're the experts. So that was more of a comment.
Absolutely. That's great insight. A lot of times you're going to get people that they don't know anything, or they're willing to admit they don't know, and you're there to be the expert. Other times you're going to get people that, you know, they know everything and they're the smartest person in the room everywhere they go. And it's obviously just a different tone or a different type of conversation. And I'm not scared to let somebody lead the conversation if that's what's going to make them feel important. At the end of the day, I'm still going to be the one steering a ship when we get into escrow. And I really, really try to do such a great job for them that they're happy that they have me as an advocate on their side.
I have a question. How do you handle serious buyers that want to call around to find a broker that finds their perfect home?
Something like that. You're fighting an uphill battle both ways. My insight on that is I really, really am not a fan of the buyer-broker agreement, and I let them know that. You know, that a lot of times you're going to reach out and call different people, and they're automatically going to want you to sign this buyer-broker agreement and lock you in with them. My insight on that is if we don't get along or you're not comfortable with me, whatever the case may be, that's fine. I don't want to hold you to anything, but I'm going to do such a stellar job for you and find you the perfect home that I know that you're going to want to work with me. It is going to be in your best interest to have one single person going to bat for you versus 50 different other people. You're going to be screening phone calls, etc. So I'd really like to earn your business. What can I do to solidify our relationship and have me help you find the perfect home and represent you in a smooth and seamless closing? Just ask them what's their motivating factor.
Great, thanks, Jeff. And then Christy wants to know, how much does Lion Desk cost you a month, and can you describe what else it does?
Yeah, any good contact management system out there will be more than happy to give you a free trial. I believe I got a 30 or 60-day free trial with them. This was probably about a year ago. By no means am I a representative of any contact management or online lead source or anything like that, so please don't quote me on these figures. But I think I'm paying about $30 a month, and I paid the yearly rate, so I think it was just under $300 for the year. Some of the other stuff that they offer that I like is that you can manage your Facebook ads on there. If you do outbound squeeze pages and home valuation pages and that sort of thing. You can monitor your audience targeting and your cost per lead and that sort of thing from there. When you hover over you can connect it with your inbox so that when you hover over an email from somebody, it'll give you a flash of what the last couple of emails you had with them are, logs your phone calls and emails and that sort of thing. I really like it, especially for the cost. I would say that's one of the less expensive CRMs for what you get and for the quality of the product.
Great, thanks, Jeff. And then we have another question. How are you tracking how many leads you have per day and week, and where are they coming from?
Yep, so I track that. I have in the CRM there's a way to do that. And when you enter the lead, or if it comes in from an online portal like Zillow or Realtor.com or something like that, I have it coded so that it tells me exactly where that lead came from. If it's a lead I manually entered because it was a referral from a friend or a family member or a past client, I tag it for that as well. Does that fully answer the question? That the CRM I use allows me to do that, and you have a dashboard that you can hover over how many incoming leads you had that month, how many closings you had, and then where you're at in the process with them. Did you mark them as a hot prospect, actively looking, actively writing offers, or 60-day pipeline, 90-day pipeline, cold list? A cold list to me is anything longer than 6 months. So anytime I can do a flash of my dashboard and kind of see where I'm at with the different leads and the different lead sources.
Great, thanks. And then we had a couple questions if we're going to be sending this replay out. Yes, we will be emailing it to you once we convert it over, and we'll also put it on our AJI University website, so you will have access to it both ways. And we'll give it just a couple more minutes. If there's any more questions, we'll open it up for another minute or so.
Okay. And I actually just got an incoming question too. Let me read this to make sure I understand it. Okay, the question was from Mike here in San Diego. Thank you for your question, Mike. The question is, what do you think you get the most bang for your buck? Or I'm assuming what you mean is, who do I think the best online lead source is? It's hard to say. It's hit or miss. I think that the two biggest ones out there are going to be Realtor.com and Zillow.com. They are constantly changing. As you know, Zillow has recently made some changes to the way that they do things. I guess if I had to pick one of the two, I would say Realtor.com. You have a little bit more background on what the buyers or the potential buyers were doing as far as home searches and that sort of thing when that comes in. But on the contrary, you are competing with 2 or 3 other agents that lead went to as well. Zillow, that lead is coming directly to you and not to another agent unless they register again. So it's really hit or miss. I think they're both about the same, a little bit different. Overall, the best leads and the best lead sources are the ones that you follow up with, guys. I can't stress that enough. Don't be the agent that only follows up 1, 2, or 3 times. As you can see from the stats there, that's really not going to get you anywhere. I really think that on average, I'm probably looking at 7 to 10 impressions before I actually set an appointment with somebody. And I've had people that I talked to like 6 months ago that I've just had on a cold email list for the last 6 months, 1 impression a month, that out of nowhere, hey man, you've been sending me listings, or thank you for your follow-up. We're not quite ready to buy yet, but we're going to be ready at the end of the summer. Or actually, I did get that job that I was applying for, so I am ready to buy a house. When can we go start looking? That sort of thing. And just that one email that you send out a month, keeping in front of them with relevant communication will really, really pay dividends in the long run.
Great. Okay, I just have a couple more questions. Susan wants to know how to get leads from personal website, if it even matters.
Personal websites. I am not a huge advocate of spending money driving traffic to your personal website. I think it's just too hard to compete with these big internet sources out there, these bigger name companies, because they literally spend millions and millions of dollars per month in driving at advertising. So I think a personal website is a good thing to have in your signature block, and it looks good on your business card. But as far as driving traffic to your website, I would say it's probably not worth the investment. I'm a bigger fan of doing home evaluation pages, or are you interested in buying a house in whatever city, and doing Facebook audience targeting and that sort of thing. I personally am not necessarily a professional in that exact subject, but we do a lot of training on that with our brokerage in here. So definitely check out ajiuniversity.com, and you can refer to some of our educational webinars that we've had in the past, and they do zero in on that specifically. So in a nutshell, to answer your question, if you're going to spend money on driving people to a specific website, I think you're going to get the best return on investment doing Facebook and social media audience targeting for buyers or sellers accordingly. And that is a whole mathematical process to that and marketing process. And there's companies out there that you can pay to do that for you as well. If you get savvy with it, you can save a lot of money doing it yourself.
Okay, and the last question, it looks like, how long are you incubating your online leads versus leads from an open house or referral?
Yep, that's a great question. So 3 very, very different sources there. A referral is the best kind of lead that you can have. The rapport is already built. Hopefully your friend or past client or family member or whomever it was that referred that person to you already spoke you up, and they already have a good feeling that you're going to do a great job for them and they're active and ready to go. Open house leads, if somebody is actively out looking at open houses, they're probably in the immediate market to buy a home. Whereas somebody that registered on the internet, they may have just started the search. So the people that you're catching as referrals from friends and family members that are going to open houses probably started looking online months in the past before they're actually going out and doing those sorts of things. So the incubation period, anywhere from right away to, a year down the road from now. As I said, I'm getting people from 6 months ago that are finally for the first time starting to reply. And I can look at how many impressions I've tried to, or how many times I've tried to contact them, 12, 15, 18 times, whatever the case may be. So there's no set number, but as you can see in the chart, the longer out it gets, the more it dwindles down. I think right in that 3 to 6 month spot is kind of the sweet number of people that register versus actually being able to convert them to a closing.
Okay, and we're gonna close on this question. What email drip campaign are you using, and for your cold?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. I actually have 2 different sources. For something that is just a dead cold lead, I use Elite Email, and I think it's, I don't know, $30 a month or something like that. And you have 50,000 emails or something really reasonable that you can send out. And I just send relevant industry content, or most of the leads that I have or that I source are going to be in the same general area of North County, San Diego. So I'm not farmed out all over. So I can send very specific area information to them. It's springtime, it's holiday time, whatever it is kind of content versus something that is more immediate platform. I send it out right from my CRM, and it does send from my email address without spamming my email. So that's another great part of using CRMs, is a lot of them have the kind of capability that you can send out mass emails without spamming your email account.
Awesome. Okay.
Great question.
All right. So thank you, Jeff, so much. And thank you for all the agents who joined us today. Just to recap, we will be sending out a replay of this, so you will have it on hand. And if you would like more information about Allison, James, or our coaching program that is now available, please feel free to call or email Jeff or I directly at joinus@ajicorporate.com, or you can call at 941-677-2544. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.